What's going on, guys? Vulkan here, and today we are talking about some of the biggest mistakes to avoid as a player in New World. Now, there are 9 of these in total. A lot of these are things you just might not know about, but they're going to make your experience better. So starting with number 1, I want to talk about faction seals. So once you choose your faction, you can start doing faction missions. You can see here PvE, PvP, do whichever one you want, and they'll all reward you with faction tokens right up here. Now, next to faction tokens, we have buy rewards. Once you open your reward screen, you'll see a whole bunch of gear, the ammunition, potions, all that fun stuff, but you'll also see things called seals. So for instance, we have a cleric seal here. Now these seals are very powerful, but they can be a little confusing for new players coming in. So seals are used to change the stats on particular pieces of gear. So for instance, we have the Marauder Cleric Seal, which will change the attributes of Marauder faction armor, so anything within this window, to Constitution and Focus. So if I look at this piece of gear here, which is Legguards of the Barbarian, let's say I want to keep this heavy leg wear, but I don't like Strength and Constitution. I would instead like Focus and Constitution. I can buy this piece of gear, I can buy this seal, I can take them to a blacksmithing station. The legs have to be in your inventory. You can't have them on. So take them off and a recipe will show up. You click on that recipe, it'll consume your seal, and it'll change your attributes to Focus and Constitution that you can use. So we have the Cleric Seal, we have the Occultist Seal, which is Intelligence and Constitution. We have the Brigand, which is Dexterity and Constitution, and the Barbarian here, which is Strength and Constitution. So this is a really good way to go through and kind of maintain whatever armor weight you would like to have, but also have the stats you want on your piece of gear. So keep in mind, these are out there, use them. I would recommend not using them for early game just because you're gonna be going through gear fairly quickly and you don't wanna burn 100 tokens plus whatever else you have out here all the time. So make sure to think through it and use it when you need to. So moving on to number 2, we have another thing that people either might not know about or they just run past it and they don't realize that it's something that they need to take advantage of, and those are supply cards. So here I'm in First Light and my company owns this territory as well as the faction owns this territory. So there is a supply cart that I can take advantage of. Now the one in First Light is like your cooking materials. So you can see here I have fish and pumpkins and all these other things. You can pick these up once per day, I believe, and they give you a bunch of materials to use. Now each area has a different supply cart that you can take advantage of. So Windsward has like fiber. So it has things like your hemp fibers and all that jazz. And then up in here on Monarch's Bluff, you have iron. So if you want iron ore, the supply cart has that. Everfall, I can't remember what Everfall has. But each town, each settlement has a supply cart you can take advantage of. And as long as your faction owns that town, then you can go and click on that supply cart and get a bunch of materials that you can use. So it's something you want to take advantage of. Now, another thing to take advantage of as well is the honey. So in town, you'll have honey. You always want to pick this up if you see that it's available because this is incredibly useful for cooking. Same thing with the wells. If you're making potions, you can pull the well and get a lot of water right here so you don't have to leave. Especially if you're in Windsor, there's actually a creek that runs through the town and you can sit there and just pick up a bunch of water and craft potions like crazy. Moving into number 3, this is one that I've preached throughout all of my videos, but it's good just to put it back out there because I see people asking about it. If you're not using your shield, take your shield off. You're not getting any extra benefit from it. So you can see here, I have a warhammer, I have a hatchet, I'm not using my shield, and it pushes me into medium equip load or armor weight, and I don't want that. So take it off, that way I'm back into light. Like I said, it doesn't give you any bonuses or benefits for having it equipped, so you might as well take it off. Moving into number 4, I want to talk about tools. So you can see here, I have a flint skinning knife and I have a steel skinning knife. Huge difference between the two. One, 250%, 257% actually, gathering speed versus 100%. If I move over to iron, you can see 130% gather speed versus 255% gather speed. So being able to go through and pick up and upgrade your tools as you go along is going to make your life a lot easier. I see people that are level 20, 25 still running around with these flint tools and they're going so slow. And then they start complaining that, man, gathering is slow in this game. Well, it's just because you haven't updated your tools. You need to constantly be upgrading these. And if you're in a company where everybody gets along and everybody's thinking about, the company as a whole, what's up, Shield? Then you can actually maybe barter with somebody and give them some different materials and they can trade you for some steel tools. That's what I did in my company. Worked out really well. I gave them something they needed, a couple bags actually, and then they were able to give me some steel tools. So I'm not able to use them quite yet. I'm almost there, but these are incredibly helpful. And that goes right into number 5, and that is constantly skin everything. Anything you kill that can be skinned, go ahead and skin it. Just because you're gonna need it, right? It's awesome passive experience. You'll be able to gain levels from this. You want to level up your skinning as you go because hides are going to be more and more sought after as you get higher in level. And there's really no downside to it other than it takes a little bit longer after you kill a wolf. You have to go and skin it. But then again, if you upgrade all your tools, it shouldn't take too much longer. So moving into number 6, and that is salvage all of your recipes and salvage your fish, salvage schematics, all of those things, because they'll sit in your inventory and you need to actually salvage them in order to learn them. That way you can go out and craft those materials. So most likely by the time you hit 20, you'll have 3 or 4 schematics in your inventory that you might not notice are there. Hover over them, salvage them. That'll have you learn the recipe or learn the skill, and then you can go to the crafting area and actually start making those materials if you would like to. This is something that I see all the time. Where do I get fish fillets? Where do I get fish oil? Why do I have these weird furniture things in my inventory? Read the description. It says to salvage them. Some people don't. And at that point, you'll either get your fish fillets, your fish oil, you'll get your schematics. So it's something that's entirely simple to understand, but it's missed as you go through and you're just trying to rush through the game. Number 7, let's talk about fast travel. So fast traveling in New World is absolutely a thing. I know there's a lot of running in New World. You're hoofing it from place to place to place pretty often. However, there are fast travel points. You have things like spirit shrines like this. Then you have settlement fast travel where you can go to these different, hamlets or whatever, these towns. Now, depending on your distance and depending on your inventory weight or your encumbrance, this cost will vary. So if we look at fast traveling to Everfall, it's controlled by Syndicate, and I have a half full inventory. So if we look at the fast travel cost, the base cost of fast travel, hands down, is 50. That's always the way it is. That's where it stays. Then we have a distance cost of 80. And then I have an encumbrance cost of 44. So grand total, that's like 174 for fast traveling there. Then because we own multiple territories as Marauders, we get a faction control discount of 97. So that drops it to 77. But if I were to travel to a spirit shrine here within my own kind of faction territories, the distance isn't very far. You can see it's 0. My base cost is still 50. My encumbrance cost is still 44. But because of our faction control discount and our faction discount, we get an additional minus 33 and minus 24 off of that cost. Now, if I were to go and drop everything that I have in my inventory into my shed, so let's take and just drop everything I have. And let's see how that affects my fast travel cost. So we were trying to go here. Now it's 31. So you can see my encumbrance cost went from a 44 additional cost to 4. And because of that, that dropped my entire travel cost down. Now you notice that it also dropped my faction control discount and it also dropped my faction discount. So it is proportional. So as you go down in encumbrance cost, there is a reduction in discount. That way you don't fast travel for free, but it's basically free. I mean, 31 out of 822, and you get this stuff pretty often. So lowering your inventory weight is going to help you fast travel. This is something that I see new players do all of the time. They don't think about their inventory weight. They just fast travel and they're spending 90, 100, 170 to fast travel to these different places. And before you know it, you're completely out of Azoth. And because of that, you can't fast travel anywhere. And that is when you get kind of stuck in a bind. And it's very frustrating to have to run literally everywhere or try to grind and get more Azoth. So that's one thing you need to make sure you do. Take care of that currency more than anything, because it is super important. And that plays directly into number 8, and that is unlock these spirit shrines. Because you can see here, going from settlement to settlement to settlement isn't exactly the best or most cost efficient way of doing things. See, all these spirit shrines here throughout these zones are incredibly helpful. Because if I wanted to go turn in this quest, Nature's Gifts, do I go to Cutlass Keys? Do I go to Windsward? Or do I go to Monarch Bluff, right? And all of these are a decent chunk, a decent distance away from this one thing. Or I can just fast travel to the Spirit Shrine. I'm right there. Same thing up in here in Everfall. You have another big kind of main quest turn in right here at where my camp is. And I don't want to travel to Everfall and then have to run all the way up here. I would much rather just hit this Spirit Shrine and then go turn that stuff in. All of these things are make your whole travel, your leveling experience way more efficient, and being able to unlock them is crucial. So make sure to do that as you go through. You can notice them, they have a big blue beam that goes into the sky. You have to walk all the way up onto the platform in order to be able to unlock it. So don't just run by it and think that you did. You'll see a notification that said Spirit Shrine unlocked. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, number 9, this is one of the big things that people often overlook, and that is the fact you can add on special resources to crafted items. So we have these linen leggings here, right? Gear score 200, very base, nothing too crazy. But there's this section right here called special resource. If I click on this, scroll up, we can see all the different charms or special resources that I have that I can add to this piece of crafted gear. So if I added a steel bow charm, it would add the enfeebling poison shot perk. It would add a constitution and strength addition if I went for these small quartz crystal. Dead dryad vine gives me const and intelligence. So when you're crafting something and you want something specific, always make sure to check your special resources. You pick these up as you go, whether you kill something, harvest something, mine something, literally just play the game and these things will drop. This softwood tree sap I got from a dead tree. Literally cut the dead tree, this dropped, and boom, focused dexterity. Wolf blood obviously came from wolves. But then you have other things here like jagged animal fang. That's going to give me skinning luck. So I could take this jagged animal fang and I could apply it to a skinning knife. And then next thing I know, boom, I have reinforced skinning luck on a skinning knife, which makes sense. And then I can go out and get extra rawhide or extra whatever that I'm out there skinning. So this is something that I see a lot of people skim over and they don't necessarily take the time to learn about all these special resources. But as you get towards end game and you start crafting top tier items, people are going to be pretty specific about what they would like on that item. And these will help you sell, whether it's crafted pieces of gear or make your own piece of gear that's going to be as beneficial as possible to you. So guys, that wraps up this video. Let me know in the comment section below what you think so far about New World. But as always, thank you guys so much for all the support. This has been Vulkan, and I'll talk to you guys next time.